Hello and welcome to the Last Place Fantasy Football Podcast. My name is Ryan. I am here with my co-host Ethan. We are down one member tonight.
It's our
For
first
our
it's our first episode together without
yeah,
Josh.
yeah, it is our first episode. It's kind of weird not having him here. He's always been here.
I'm
He's
kind
been
of
the
happy about
rock.
it.
Yeah.
I'm excited to not have
So
Josh. We love
well,
you,
that's
Josh.
just mean, but all right. No,
But it's recap.
we miss you, Josh. Yes, this is the review of week 9, and we're gonna get into some stuff that's not necessarily a review of week 9. We'll go ahead and start off with that. We had something happen in a league
Oh no, we're gonna start off
tonight. We're gonna
immediately.
start off with this, Ethan. So Ethan is commissioner in this league, and we have a lot of new people, a lot of people who have never
That
played
we're
fantasy
teaching.
football.
That we're
Yeah,
teaching to play
who've
fantasy.
never played fantasy football before, who aren't experienced, and definitely not in a dynasty sense. So, like, I always recommend people who start out playing fantasy football play redraft. It gets you used to the league, how it works, just trading players and knowing the value of players. And going in the transition from redraft into dynasty is a lot easier, knowing how to value players and how to evaluate the value of players. Um, but going straight from not ever playing fantasy football at all to going into a dynasty league is rough. And
Yeah.
there's tonight is a very good example of growing pains. People who have no experience in it, and
Yeah.
they do ridiculous trades, and the commissioner has to step in.
And then
And
take flack for it.
because like you said, Ethan, in our group chat, it's league integrity. We have, as commissioners, I'm commissioner of our league, and then Ethan is the
The
commissioner
league.
of this, yeah,
This
the
league,
league
you
that
know.
this podcast is about. I'm the commissioner of that. I along with Josh, he's my co-commissioner. Like, I brought him on to kind of keep me in check. But we have to make sure that the league is somewhat balanced. If we have one person that is dominating the league every single year because they either make ridiculous trades like this that happened
Situation.
tonight,
Yeah.
or they you know uh, I don't know, they just have too much going for them. Now,
Yeah.
I'm not saying taking
I'm not saying
people
like if they
off
get
of,
lucky, like
no,
they have a really good
because
draft.
if they have a
You know.
dominant team for like 2 years because of their draft picks, they just hit. That's
Then
one thing.
that's
That's
yeah,
one thing
that's the
that's
game.
like that's fair. Honestly, like in the NFL, if a team hits on their draft uh capital that they
They're
have,
going to the Super Bowl.
they're going to the Super Bowl, and they might
I
hit,
look at the
2 years.
2016 Falcons.
Exactly. Well, and I mean, look at shoot.
Look at the
I
Tampa
mean,
Bay Buccaneers.
well, I was gonna say,
Look at the
look at
Philadelphia Eagles right now.
the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah,
They've since they drafted Mahomes, well, since his second year, they've been like in the running for the championship almost every year, where they have been like contenders. And it's because they have people in places on that team of great value.
right.
Um, so this is what happened tonight. I'm gonna go ahead and just
Yeah, we don't have to talk about names. We don't have to talk
no.
about
Oh,
anything
no,
like
no,
that.
no, no.
Just
I'm not
just the
gonna.
trade
I
and
ain't dogging
just what to
anybody.
look out for if
Um,
you're a commissioner
so
to keep it
we had
fantasy
had this
relevant.
trade go through. Um,
Go through.
player A, or I should say, oh man, owner A of Team A, um, was going to receive Tyler Boyd, Dalvin Cook, and Alvin Kamara for, um, yeah, sorry,
Tyler
from
Higbee or from
Team
Team B. Yeah,
Team B, and Team B was going to receive Tyler Higbee, MVS, and Darrell Henderson. And I love that I saw this trade happen like live. I was sitting on my phone and I saw it pop up. And as soon as I saw it pop up, I went to, I was like, no freaking way. Like no way this happened. This is not happening. Like they
Yeah.
cannot let this trade go through. I immediately went over and I screenshotted it and I started messaging Ethan like, dude, you have to veto this. Like, this is ridiculous. This is not going to be able to go
Meanwhile,
through.
while he's sending that text, I had
Yeah,
already vetoed the
yeah.
trade.
And within 30 seconds of this trade going through and it popping up on our message board,
It was gone.
it was nixed. And Ethan was on top of it. And I just started laughing. And I even messaged in the group chat. I was like, wow, that was a quick veto. Like that, like my
Yeah.
gosh, that trade's not going through. But immediately after he vetoed it, um, the owner of Team A, so the one who's receiving Dalvin Cook, Alvin Kamara, and Tyler Boyd, started talking and started really complaining about it. And I it I understand, he
Well, I can
feels like,
understand wanting to win.
yeah, yeah,
I can
exactly.
understand wanting to
And
win.
he's a competitor this year.
Right.
I think with this trade, if he would have received this trade, he would have won the championship, or he would have had a very, very,
He would have
very
had
high
the highest
chance.
odds.
He would have had the highest odds by far of winning the championship. So, but as commissioners, we have to keep into account league integrity and fairness of the league. Now, when it comes to trades like this, you know, I stated in my message to everyone on there. Um, Here, let's actually go verbatim.
Verbatim. Yeah.
Um, Shoot, the value of this trade is not even close to being fair. And I stated, now not all trades are going to be fair, but they're at least going to be understandably close to being fair. And within understanding, if they can reason, this is why I'm making this trade, this is why I'm doing this. Like I made the trade in our league for Javonte Williams, and I made Javonte Williams in a first and a second. I received both them, and I gave away Damian Harris and um, Josh Jacobs. Now, in my head, I was I reasoned that I'm punting this on this year, and I'm going for next year because I
Right.
want to be a
But
contender next
really,
year.
really quick pause. Really quick
Yeah,
pause
no, go
before you
ahead.
finish that thought. Because I want you to finish it because I know where you're heading with
Mm-hmm.
that and I like it. But what I want to highlight in that is even if you are punting, there's nothing wrong
Yeah,
with punting. And this is what I mentioned as well. Like there has to be future compensation because
exactly.
that's not a future play.
Yeah,
Those MVS is older. Tyler
yep,
Boyd isn't young. Darrell Henderson isn't young. Like
yeah,
it's not like you're trading for like Gainwell and like Brian Robinson and these kind of like
yeah.
players who aren't
Like if he would have,
hitting their own yet, where there's
yeah,
potential there, as well as like draft picks where you can see, okay, this is a future sacrifice, but he knows he can't win this year. I'm
exactly.
okay
Like
with that.
if he would have traded, it say if he had Jamar Chase or something, that is going to be out for a couple weeks, but is going to be really valuable next year or even in a playoff run. If he would have traded him or even Brees Hall, who's out for the year and is going to be back next year.
But there's
Uh,
value there.
but there's value there. There's future value there. There is no
Right.
future value. I should say, very little future value in any one of these players. So that's why it, me and, I mean, me and Ethan we did not think that this was anywhere near fair.
All right, but let's do this
Okay.
recap.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and go into the recap. Um, yeah. So our Thursday night game, Philadelphia Eagles, Houston Texans. Um,
It's surprisingly good game. Like this
I
was a fun one to watch.
Yeah. You know, the most surprising part for me was Dameon Pierce. I
Yeah.
mean, he did rush for, I mean,
I
he
mean, he
rushed for
didn't get a
139
touchdown,
times,
but yeah, he
but
looked good.
against that Philly um,
Yeah.
defensive line, that well, that defense in general, he rushed for an average of 5.1.
Yeah, I mean, I think if they can figure out a couple other weapons and like figure out their O line,
Yeah.
like this is a team to watch.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, right now, I think the only viable fantasy weapon on that team is Damian Pierce. And I think for the foreseeable future, I think that's all. That's it. Until they get somebody in there that can catch the ball effectively, I think that's the only fantasy weapon that they have. Um,
Right.
on the other side of the ball, Hurts looked good. I mean, he didn't do a whole lot, but he showed up.
Right.
Miles Sanders, 93 yards and a touchdown. Dallas Goddard, 8 receptions for 100 yards and a touchdown. So he's
Yeah. And
quickly,
Gainey Wolf one from Miles Sanders. I was so
yeah.
disappointed about that.
But Dallas Goddard, do you think next year he becomes a top, I'd say a top 3 tight end? Does he
God, I
leapfrog?
don't know. Goddard's weird because
Does he
he just
leapfrog Ertz and Pitts?
I don't know because I think Pitts they're still trying to figure it out in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And pretty soon it's not going to be. I won't foreshadow. Well, am foreshadowing for the Falcons game that we're going to talk about in a little bit.
Yeah.
But um, I think Pitts is going to rebound when it's not Mariota. I think
Mm-hmm.
a lot of what Josh has been saying the past few weeks about them not trusting Mariota.
Mm-hmm.
You can just see it. Like
Yeah.
the team's going to obviously be like, that's my QB, and I believe in him,
Yeah.
and like we trust him. But when you only throw the ball 12 times in a game, like, do you really trust your QB? Because think about
Yeah.
when he was with Tannehill.
Unless
Tannehill would
it's the
still throw
scheme.
it 20 plus times a game.
Yeah.
Because it's the same scheme as Tennessee. Only
Mm-hmm.
difference is they're only trusting Mariota to throw it
Yeah.
10 to 15 times a game. Tannehill, they let him rip it for 20 to 30 times. That and I'm not saying I know everything about football and about coordinators and
But
about
you
how to run
do.
an offense in the
I
NFL.
mean, you wouldn't
No,
have a
like I'm not
podcast
going to
if you
sit here
didn't.
and say that. I will say I do know football pretty well. I played for a very long time. I've coached for 5 years now. Like I know quite a bit about football. Granted, they do things a little bit more
Madden
complex on the
football
NFL
does
level.
not count, Ethan.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Madden does
Yeah,
not count.
you're right. Just college football and whatever, and Texas high
Yeah,
schools.
yeah, of
But
course.
it's whatever.
Like I only
It's
played
whatever.
high school, so I didn't play any collegiate
But
ball. But
like I
I've been
know
a fan.
some things, right?
Yeah.
And from my experience, if you're limiting a snap count and a touch chart
Hmm.
is what they call it for someone, it's you're doing that strategically. You're
Yeah.
doing that because you know that there's a certain amount of touches that you can give them, and if you give them any more than that, they're going to make a mistake.
Yeah.
I mean, even with I won't ruin talking about
Yeah,
the Falcons game
let's
later. I'll talk about that later. But
well, you know what?
yeah,
That
this
I
was
think
a
that's
fantastic
a
game
good
to watch,
transition.
and let's
So
go to the next one.
we're actually gonna transition into the Chargers Falcons game.
Just skip ahead.
Yeah,
Okay, all
yeah,
right.
might as well.
I'm all right with that. Let's just get it out of the
So
way.
let's talk about the
That's literally the
Chargers
next
first,
one here
get
on
that out
Bleach
of the
Report.
way. Um,
So here's the thing about the Chargers. So obviously
yeah.
Herbert's Herbert. He was his typical gunslinger. It was Herbert against the world. Kind of gave me foreshadowing of like his rookie year of when they didn't have a lot of talent on the team. Um, but he did play great. There were times when I felt like the Falcons secondary, should have they were playing a very soft zone because I don't know, they just got worried about Herbert winning the game, and that's what ultimately cost them. Eckler was efficient against one of the better run defenses in the NFL. I mean, obviously he still got 2 touchdowns on the day, but I felt like he was pretty contained compared to other better defenses, if you will, in the NFL who have let Eckler do just whatever he wants.
Yeah.
Um, I don't want to control it too. Like obviously, there's more to talk about with this offense for the Chargers. What did you notice?
Well, I mean, I've just been I like uh the usage of Eckler in this game.
Yeah, I thought it was
Um,
very
they
effective,
got him
even though
involved
he
in the
was getting
passing
contained.
game.
Yeah,
Yeah, he was kind of getting bottled up carrying the ball. Only 47 yards on 14 carries. It's not great. Um, but he did get a touchdown,
but he
kind of
was efficient with it.
save that
He
day.
he
Yeah.
picked up a lot of,
Hmm.
important first downs, and then obviously the touchdown.
And he got 7 receptions because, like, in the passing game, they've definitely been leaning on him
As I
to
think
get
they
down the
should,
field.
because he's
Yeah.
he's RB1. He is very much playing like RB1,
Yeah.
and for this Chargers team to, climb back in the West and catch up to Kansas City, they're
Yeah.
going to need him to be RB1.
Yeah. For sure. Um, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about on them. Just
Dude, Josh Palmer had
Justin
a
Herbert.
monster game.
Yeah.
That's the last thing I want to mention before I go on my
Yeah.
Falcons rant.
I
But
mean,
like
off of 10 targets, yeah, he had a
10
great game.
targets, 8 receptions, 106 yards. Like
A
he
decent
was huge.
fantasy output this week.
Yeah, like I mean,
Um,
if Keenan Allen and Mike Williams are still out next week and the week after, he has to be your wide receiver too, if
yeah.
you have him. Just
Hmm.
put him in wide receiver too. I guarantee you he gets you 15 plus points.
Yeah,
I
for sure.
that's just how it is with no Mike Williams because I mean he was good. He was getting like, between like 8 and 14 with Williams in here. But
Hmm.
when they're putting him in wide receiver one, he just clearly displayed I can be your wide receiver one.
Yeah.
Now, this is the worst pass defense in the NFL, and Dean Pease played a very soft, frustrating zone defense. But still, like that's not to take away from Josh Palmer showed that he can be wide receiver one. And
Yeah.
with that, are we
Yeah.
starting the timer for the rant?
Um, yeah, let's go ahead and start the timer. Go ahead.
So yeah, I mean, like kind of going back on what I was talking earlier, like Mariota was just not efficient today. Like he overthrew guys who were just so wide open, it's not even funny, which is why he got benched in Tennessee. Like it's literally just shades of every reason why the Titans stopped believing in him and why he's going to be a career backup quarterback. And now, like, that's my QB, so I don't want to be like too hard on him, but that's just the truth. Marcus Mariota is a career backup. He's a bridge QB, and that's all he'll ever be. And that's unfortunate with what he did at Oregon. Like I want to believe in him, but he's just been that bad. But beyond that, like seeing CP back, CP had a huge day. You could tell he still wasn't 100%, but he was very effective when the Falcons called on him. He scored, excuse me, both
Very
touchdowns
effective.
today. Yeah, I mean, like he was
Very
trucking people
effective.
left and right, and he was picking up very
Yeah.
physical and hard yards.
Him trucking into the end zone.
Oh my
Oh, it
God,
was so
yeah,
awesome. That was
yeah,
oh, I
that
loved
was.
seeing that.
And then Algier, dude, Algier's coming into his own.
Yeah.
Like
He
he's
is.
starting
He
to look
he
like the
is
running back of the future.
he's looking like a good number two right now behind Cordero. Letting
Right.
Cordero carve the path and him coming in and cleaning up afterwards. I like it. That's a good 1-2 punch, and I think they need to take the gas off of Huntley. I think they just need to let Cordero and Tyler run with it. Because I
Yeah,
think you're just splitting.
I,
You're
it
not
is
letting
tough.
anybody get into a groove. If you're
Yeah,
only
it's a
letting
tough
them get
situation
10
because
touches.
kind of what I think the theory behind it is like you don't know who's doing what. Like if Algier comes in after CP and Huntley have both been in,
Yeah.
you don't know if he's coming in to run ISO and get 3 yards, or if they're trying to run a pitch play to him to do like what he did at on the first drive and pick up 40 yards. Like you don't know what, and same thing with Huntley. When they bring him in after Algier just took RPO after, like all these other stuff trying to throw the book at him, and then they run ISO with him and you can't do anything to stop it because you don't know what the personnel is doing. Like that is so hard as a defensive coordinator to stop when you have three guys who play very differently but are all effective. That is difficult to stop. And
Yeah.
I think I would keep it honestly. Like as much as I want to see Algier or Patterson just go off, and I'm sure some of you fantasy owners of them want to see them just go off. Like in terms of like NFL and what they're doing, they're just trying to be so hard to scheme against.
Yeah. And they will be. Um, they really will be. Um, is that I don't really have anything for the Falcons.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
mean
really have
everything
any
in terms
notes.
of receiving was just overthrows on Mariota. Like
Hmm.
I mean, Kadriel Hodge had a bad drop, and I think it was London had a bad drop, or London and Pitts both had like a drop that, maybe they should have won. Well, Pitts was kind of punched out, but I mean, other than that, like maybe one mistake on each of those guys, like there's still four others where it's like Mariota just screwed the flow of the game. And like the fumble that London had, I was just tough. Like he was trying to fight for it. It looked like in my opinion, he should have had forward progress, but they let it play. And, I'm not the ref. I don't know everything. And that's just me as a fan being like, why, didn't they just call him down? But that's something that just happens. And then like Koo missing the field goal, that's tough. But that's football, man. Like sometimes
Mm-hmm.
things just don't go your way. And that was really the last on this game.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, that's it for the Chargers Falcons. Let's move on to my favorite team, the Commanders. No, the Vikings.
Dude, they
Vikings
were
Commanders
getting
game.
picked on.
Who, the Vikings or the Commanders?
Yes, the Vikings,
The
man.
Vikings. Yeah, they had kind of a rough go. They smacked the crap out of Cousins on
Yeah.
that long pass to Justin Jefferson. They smacked the crap out of him. He was not feeling good after it. But you know what I did see? Um, did you see anything? Any updates on the Vikings and their flight home?
Oh yeah, with his shirt off and
Yeah,
I
he was
mean,
sitting there with a chain and his shirt off. Captain Kirk is balling out, man. I love it.
he's feeling it, man. And
He's
they need
feeling
to if
it.
they're gonna make a push for the playoffs, because
Yeah,
I
and
don't know how they're gonna stack up against the Eagles.
yeah, honestly, these next I think these next 2 weeks, because like what is our schedule over the next couple of weeks? I know we're facing oh shoot. I gotta get on here and check it out. Um I know we're facing the Cowboys here pretty soon, but we are also facing let's see, this is week 9. So we're facing Buffalo next week. That I
That'll be a
don't think we're
test.
gonna win. I don't think we're gonna
Well,
win
but
that
look at the
game.
Jets. Look at the Jets
Yeah,
though. Like it is
that's
doable.
true. But their defense showed up, and
Yeah.
the Jets defense has been rock solid the last couple of weeks,
But that's a
and they
good
really
test for
showed up.
because the Vikings
Mm-hmm.
defense has been good too. Like
It's
I
been
think that's
all
gonna be
right.
your real indicator of
Yeah.
where this team is at.
But I think these next 2 weeks against Dallas and against Buffalo is when we find out what the Vikings are made of. Because we've had a kind of an easy schedule up until now. So and we've been barely getting by. Um, so we'll see. I have confidence where I think our offense is high powered enough that we can do it, but it's just whether or not our defense can hold and whether or not our offense actually gets into a rhythm. So Cousins did real well. Dalvin Cook, not so much, but he gave us the
He
edge
did get
that
his
we
tutty.
needed. You
Yeah.
know what I was really surprised and really proud of? This trade for Hawkinson seemed to work for
Yeah,
our
work out.
passing
Yeah, I
game.
mean 9 for 7, 9 for 9 for 70.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
I mean,
that's a good boost.
that's great. I mean, he seems to be looking like the number two option. I mean, for Adam Thielen owners, that's not a good thing. Because that means his target share is going to drop, and same with KJ Osborne. But for Hawkinson owners, I think this is a bounce
Something to
back.
keep your eye on. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is a bounce back for Hawkinson.
And then on the
So,
flip side, I mean Heineke started super
mhm.
strong. did not end strong.
No.
Robinson still doesn't look that great. Gibson still looks better,
Yeah.
but they're giving him passing work now for some reason, which I don't know. I hate the
It seems like
Commanders.
whenever he's in the spotlight, he does terribly. And whenever there's somebody else in the spotlight and he just gets to, do his thing in the background, he ends up showing up and actually producing in
But
fantasy.
even still, like even
So,
today, he still looked better than Brian
yeah.
Robinson. Like
Yeah.
every week since Brian Robinson has come back, Gibson
Hmm.
has looked better than him.
And that's just it's
And
frustrating.
that's just Washington Commander football.
Exactly. For anybody who is an Antonio Gibson or Brian Robinson owner,
Just cry.
just cry, curl up and cry in a corner somewhere because I have no clue what to do with them. They are an enigma. Um,
Yeah.
I would hold on to them if you can, if you can. If not,
Mm,
sell. I'd sell.
yeah.
So,
But
um,
where
that's
you want
about
to go
it for
next?
this. I mean, Curtis Samuel got a lucky catch, lucky touchdown catch amidst what
The
three
yeah,
Vikings.
and the
It
refs
was
getting in the way.
and the ref getting in the way. Yeah.
But do you have somewhere you want to go next for the next game?
Yep. The next game we're going to talk about the surprise of this week,
Oh,
the
okay.
Miami Dolphins
Yeah.
and the Chicago Bears. This is one of the highest scoring games this week.
Who would have thought the
Uh
Bears would have had one of the higher scoring?
exactly.
Yeah. I mean, starting
Like
with the Dolphins, like it's just tuna on,
mhm.
like what we've been saying for the past few weeks.
Yeah, it's just Tua and I'm I'm surprised that Jeff Wilson got out and
Yeah,
was involved
dude, he
more
balled.
involved
He
than
balled.
yeah, more involved than what I thought he would be. He was involved in
Nine
the
for
passing game
51.
and the rushing game. I think he may be RB1. He may take over for Raheem
Oh
Mostert.
yeah, he's RB1. But
So,
I think he's worth flex consideration
mhm,
too with how he's looked.
yeah. So right now, I don't know Raheem Mostert owners.
Sorry.
I I think it's
Cry.
too late to sell him. Yeah, I think it's too late to sell him. But I
In
have
the words
though.
of Drake.
Yeah, I think it's too late. Um, but Jeff Wilson owners hold on to him. I think he's a good viable streaming candidate, low end flex
Yeah.
for
And
most
then
of this
Tyreek
next
Hill
year.
just doesn't care. Like I guess he's
Yeah.
just gonna put up 100 yards every game. He just doesn't
Yep.
care.
Yeah. He doesn't care. And Jalen Waddle,
Still
both
really
of these
good,
guys,
but
they just show up and produce. When Tua is out there with them, they just produce. Doesn't matter who they're going up against. So, Darnell Mooney, I'm
whoops.
I'm seeing a good resurgence from Darnell Mooney.
Still not all the way there. He had the great block on
Still, yeah.
Justin Fields' 61-yard touchdown run, but
Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah.
Justin Fields is out here doing his Michael Vick impression.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and he actually set a record
Yeah, for
for
most
the
rushing
most
yards,
rushing yards by a QB in the regular season. So, that's
which is
cool.
wild.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's wild,
Yeah,
man.
and dude, Cole Kmet is starting to look consistent, like what we
He's
thought he
starting
was
to
going to
look
be.
like he's alive.
Yeah, like these last 2 weeks, it's like, oh man, like Cole Kmet is starting to be what we thought he
Hmm.
was going to be before the season started.
So, what okay, I've got a question for you. What happened between 2 weeks ago and today that lit
For
a
Justin
fire
Fields,
under these under no under the Bears in general? Because last week they put up what was it 29, 39 point? I can't remember what they put up
I don't know.
against.
They put on a show.
They put up a lot against a fairly tough Dallas defense last
Yeah.
week.
And they
Last
almost
year,
upset
last
him
week.
had they not had some turnover problems.
Exactly. And
Um, honestly, I think what it is they're just installing that confidence in Justin Fields and
mhm,
letting him go do his thing. Because Justin Fields
yeah.
is a winner. Justin Fields is the kind of guy you want to build a team around.
Hmm.
And so that's the person you need to make sure he's confident and knowing like, hey, you're the
Yeah.
direction of our team. We're gonna let you go out there, do your thing, and we're gonna keep getting you the support you need.
So do you think the change to Eberflus really really did something for Fields? Because it was not anywhere close to this last year. He was struggling left and right.
I mean, I feel like that's the takeaway you have to have. I
Hmm.
feel like because like all the like meditation stuff and things, that's all like supported by the coaches.
Yeah.
So the coaches are doing things in order to get him more comfortable and confident. And
Hmm.
if you're doing that as a coaching staff, you're doing your job.
Yeah. And I don't know. There seems to be a fire lit under Justin Fields right now.
Yeah. And I'm excited to
He is
watch.
he's doing really well. I mean, yeah, it's looking crazy. 3 touchdowns. I mean, as a QB rating of 95, only throwing 123 yards.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, but
So,
having over 300 all purpose, like
exactly.
good Lord.
Yeah. But so Justin Fields was not only QB1, but he was also RB1 for Chicago. So,
And I mean, if
yeah.
they had let him, he probably would have been wide receiver one too.
I mean, when your running back is averaging 2.6 yards per carry, you kind of got to take the ball from him. So,
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Monty and Herbert. Yeah. Honestly,
it's
I think Herbert just needs to go somewhere else.
I think Monty needs to go somewhere else. They need to
Or
keep
yeah,
Herbert.
sorry, that's what I meant to say.
Oh,
Is
okay.
I think
I
Monty
was
needs
like,
to
Monty needs to get
I
out of
think
there
yeah, they need to elevate Herbert and Monty needs to find another team
because he's
because
looking
Monty's a
bad.
great he's a I don't know what it is, but he does not fit. So, and with that, we got another game.
So yeah, let's go ahead and move on to uh the Panthers and the Bengals game, or should I say the Panthers and the Cincinnati Joe Mixons,
Yeah.
because
Good God.
he outscored the Panthers today.
Five
Uh,
touchdowns,
5 touchdowns, one passing, four on the ground on 22
averaging 7
carries.
yards per carry.
That's just
22
this
for a
man was a
150. I mean,
beast.
he was due. Like, this is what Joe
Yeah,
Mixon does. Like, just randomly out of the blue, he's going to go
yeah,
off for no reason, make everybody want him, and then just be like a middle of the pack running
yeah.
back. And I hate it.
And you know what's really funny? Even though they were up by like 28, what, no, like 30,
Dude, it was
was it
bad. It
35
was a
points
lot. It was a
at
lot.
halftime? Instead of taking Joe Mixon out, who already had, I think he had 4 touchdowns at
Hmm.
that point. He had 3 rushing and 1 passing touchdown in the first half. At that point, they had gotten past halftime and they were about maybe a third of the way, halfway into the third quarter. Instead of taking out Joe Mixon, they take out Joe Burrow and they bring
Yeah.
in Brandon Allen in, and they still run Joe Mixon for another touchdown before they took him out. But that
Yeah.
was just funny, man. I figured they would take out Joe Mixon, let Joe Burrow get a couple more passes
No, let
in.
him have a game, man.
But
Let him
like,
have just a stat pad.
he showed
Because why
up.
not? Why not? Like, why take him out? Like, you're gonna
Yeah.
finish the game. Panthers quit. What are they supposed to do about that?
Yeah. And a very disappointing um production from Dante Foreman. He really didn't get
Yeah,
a whole lot of work. Understandably, I mean, when you're down 35,
you have to pass to get back
you
in
have
it.
to pass the ball. You're not,
Hmm.
and unfortunately, they had PJ Walker at the helm, and
Who
he
got
only made
benched
3 out of 10
for
passes.
for Baker to come back in and actually play somewhat well. I thought
But
Baker did a good job.
yeah, yeah. And guess what? Guess what PJ Walker's QB rating was?
Oh, let me
Just
let me
guess.
pull it up. Right. Oh God.
2.6. 2.6. That is sad. I mean, it's
We
better
we
than
tip our
zero,
we
but
tip our
that is
cap
sad.
to PJ.
In fact, he only made one more completion than he did interceptions.
And like
So
here's
yeah,
the other thing, like once again they let DJ Moore go on the back burner and they get blown out. Like if you're not going
oh
to use him, trade him.
yeah.
Like it
Well,
is so frustrating at this point. And I know
they
it's frustrating for
attempted to
him.
use him because he got 6 targets. He got the same as Terrace Marshall,
Yeah.
but he just did not catch it. So that I mean that
Yeah.
it's simple
Yeah.
as that.
Yeah.
So
And on to the next one.
on to the next. T Higgins. I did want to say T Higgins
Mm.
and Tyler Boyd did a pretty good job without uh, Jamar Chase there. So they did a
Yeah.
good job filling
Yeah.
in for him.
They're holding it down.
They
And I
did
mean
not
I
miss him
would
this
agree that
week.
they have three wide receiver ones. I agree with
Mm-hmm.
that.
Talking about wide receiver one on Alan Lazard, the Green Bay Packers, Detroit Lions. This was hard to watch.
Yeah.
As a Vikings fan, I always love to see Green Bay struggle.
I mean
But
but it was a
this was
gagger.
still hard to watch. Like I was cringing most of the game because Aaron Rodgers, I'm used
I
to.
refuse to
I
put it
grew
on.
up.
I'm going to be honest with you. I refuse to put this game on.
Yeah. I grew up watching Aaron Rodgers ball
Hmm.
out every week
Hmm.
and looking so good, just leading this offense. And he's
He's let the
struggling.
toxicity get to him
Yeah.
because
Well,
he's
I mean,
so toxic to the detriment of himself and the team.
yeah,
He just needs
he
to
can't
hang it
get
up.
anything started. And it's rough. He can't get anything started on this offense. This is the first game.
Oh, all right. So Josh just sent us a text really quickly,
Uh-oh.
and
What?
we didn't talk about it for one of the last games, but let's jump back to it really quickly. How much is Justin Fields worth in Dynasty, Ryan?
Ooh. Okay.
And from what Josh asked earlier, is he an instant start every week?
Mm. I'm gonna have to consult Sleeper on this one. So it's gonna be 1 second while I look him up, and
Well,
I
while
want
you're
to look
looking
at
that
his
up, I'll give my
scheduling.
opinion.
Yeah,
So for
yeah.
me,
Go ahead.
it depends what QB you have. Like if you have Herbert or Allen, I don't know, it would be a little difficult to justify putting in Fields over someone like that. Because yeah, he's been good the last 2 weeks,
Hmm.
but who knows how long that's going to last when he's the only thing that they have and how many hits he's going to take. And is it going to be like a Cam Newton thing where he
Mm.
goes up against a team who knocks his lights out and then he's never the same, like what the Falcons
Yeah.
did to him in 2017? So I don't know, it's a toss up. But if you're in a situation where you don't have one of like the top three, or like Jalen Hurts, sorry, let me give some respect to Jalen Hurts too. If you don't have one of those guys, I would start Fields over anyone that's not in the top four, period. And Lamar
Okay.
Jackson. So anyone who's not one of those five QBs, if you don't have one of those five QBs, start Justin Fields.
I'd say so. I'd say so. At least for this next couple of weeks, because they're going up against Detroit, Atlanta, and the Jets and Green Bay before their bye week. Those divisional matchups
Atlanta
between Green
will be a
Bay,
tough one
yeah,
because
uh,
Atlanta's a really stout run defense and they don't have a passing game.
they don't have a passing game yet. And I
Yeah.
mean, he proved he can pass, especially in the red zone.
Right. And I don't
Uh,
disagree.
so yeah, they don't necessarily have a passing game right now, but also this is Claypool's first week, so he's just now getting into it, and they're starting to pass more.
Yeah.
Um, so I I honestly don't know what his value is at this point. His fantasy value is really high because there's a
Yeah.
lot of potential with what they're
It depends
doing
what
in
you're trading.
Chicago
Like
right
if you're
now.
talking just draft
Yeah,
capital, I mean, I'm thinking like you got to be talking at least two number ones for the way that he's playing.
I'd say for right now, if you're QB hungry, um, I'd say two number ones. If you're not necessarily QB hungry, Like, say if you do have one of those top QBs, I'd throw in something else. A top, uh, I'd say, actually a mid-level tight end maybe, and a number one. So add depth and a number one at
Yeah.
whatever position. So I I guess that's kind of where I would value it. But if you're just straight up for compensation, draft compensation, I'd say two number ones. Um, yeah. So I want to make sure that
Yeah,
we
no,
message him and
I think
say
that's fair.
yes.
But then getting back to Green Bay, I mean, AJ Dillon looks banged up, so there's going to be a lot of value. Or
Mm-hmm.
sorry, not AJ Dillon, Aaron Jones left banged up, so AJ Dillon's going to have a lot of value going forward. And we
Yeah,
saw Lazard break out, and we'll see if he can keep that up.
we
But that
did,
was
but
really it
he
with this
he
game.
broke out because of necessity.
Yeah,
Because Romeo Dobbs left with an ankle injury, and I've got to say, like, two of their top options on this offense are probably going to be out next week. Dobbs,
yeah.
depending on injury, because I
Dobbs
haven't
and
really
yeah,
heard
Christian
what was going
Watson.
on with either Dobbs or Aaron Jones.
Well,
So,
and Watson was evaluated for a
oh yeah,
concussion, and
and
he's
Watson
been,
was out with a concussion. So
you know,
they they I saw a notification pop up that was kind of making fun of Green Bay, saying that they may be out of boots because
oh my God.
one of their DB, I think it was one of their DBs, Aaron Jones and Dobbs all walked out with boots on, with, like, a boot on their ankle. So,
It's a good
uh,
time to be a boot salesman in Green Bay.
yeah. Well, and they're kind of screwed now because the trade deadline passed. So there's nothing that they can do. They can go to free agency, but if they want to get significant talent, they're done, like, until the
Yeah,
draft.
yeah,
So unfortunately,
yeah. I
um,
mean, good luck, Green Bay. And
I feel bad for Aaron Rodgers.
oh,
I've
I
never
don't.
felt
He
bad.
deserves it.
I've never felt bad for that man in my life, but
No,
I
with
feel
the
bad
the,
for him
the
now.
crap stunts
I
he
do.
pulled, oh, he deserves it. He deserves every second of it, and I hope it gets worse for him. Actually,
See, I don't know. I like him as a football
I
player.
no,
If he
I
was on
used
any
to,
other team other than the Green
Ryan,
Bay
and I
Packers,
had so much respect for him
yeah,
until he pulled the sissy crap diva bull crap that he's been pulling,
yeah,
these previous seasons and the toxicity that he's brought this year with how he's treated people. That's what
yeah.
I can't be like, oh, I feel bad. No, you deserve it, buddy. You reap what you sow. I'm so glad this is going to affect your legacy. The MVPs you got were bull crap. You're a trash can.
Yes.
And let's go to the next game.
All right. Well, no, we still got to talk about the Lions. So
Oh,
uh,
crap. Yeah.
Jamal
Whoops.
Williams has a stranglehold
Dude,
on this
I
running
hate
game.
the Lions. Nothing they do makes sense.
Well, they said that they were going to work Swift in and that they were going to, make sure that he got
Yeah,
some
but
usage,
this isn't working Swift in. This is just
but
being
only giving him 11
I don't know.
touches
That's what I'm saying.
when
Like how
you gave 24 touches to Jamal Williams.
right, like how can you
Like,
justify that?
oh my gosh. Like, this is
Like you average five
it's not
yards
looking
a
good.
carry, 13 yards per reception. Like you're clearly the best player on the team, and you're just gonna not get him up and going. Like they even gave Cordero Patterson more touches than that. And Cordero Patterson is 34 years old. Like, come on.
This is it's
It's just
frustrating.
it's
I
bad
am
management at
so
this point.
glad. I
And
am
Dan
so
Campbell
glad
should be better than this.
I got rid of DeAndre Swift this offseason. So glad I did.
Yeah, it was a good move for you.
It
Yeah.
was a good move. And I
And
was
it's because of coaching. It has
yeah.
nothing to do with Swift. It's because of coaching and
Well,
management. And Dan
he's
Campbell
had
ought to be
health,
ashamed.
but he's had health issues over the last couple of weeks. So I think they're trying to rest him, work him back in, but they're
Right.
taking their
And
sweet
I
flipping
understand
time
that.
with it.
Yeah,
And
that
it's
and that's what I'm
frustrating.
saying. Like I understand working him back in,
Yeah.
but even with the work back in, what they
Yeah.
did to him over these past few weeks is not
Mhm.
enough. You have to
Yeah.
get him more game flow and more reps than that and just keep it manageable. Okay, maybe you shouldn't be running him on ISO on 3rd and 1, where you know he's going to take a big
Yeah.
hit, or throwing him a pass over the middle. But there are things that you can do to get him in the game flow and involved with the game, like
Mhm.
certain situations and certain play calls where you can use him, and just choosing to not do it is unacceptable.
Yeah. It's neglect, and
That's
they need to
in
use
my
him.
opinion is a fire-worthy offense for Dan Campbell when
Yeah.
I was rooting for him to be coach of the year this year. And
But
it's
it's
very
hard.
disappointing.
It's hard to do that. Okay, so this is kind of the other side of it, because as a DeAndre Swift owner, yes, you're very frustrated with how they're using him or not using him. But
Hmm.
on the other end of it, Jamal Williams has proven to be a very capable running back. He has
But
proven
he's
to be
not
very
like averaging
capable.
3 yards per carry and
True,
not being
true.
an offense.
But
Like
in this
like
game,
holding your nostrils above
yeah.
water is so different than saying like he is
Mhm.
the offense and they don't need Swift because of how he's been playing.
Yeah.
Like if you want to look at the numbers the last few weeks of what Jamal Williams has done and say they don't need DeAndre Swift because of how
Mhm.
Jamal Williams is playing, I will ask you what you're smoking and if I can get some because I'm trying to live life like that.
Yeah. See, I think this week, I think they might have kind of looked at the first half and gone, "Hey, our defense is taking care of business. Um, our offense is running fine without him. Let's use this
Mm.
week to rest him up." Because he was in the first half, he was getting catches. I know that he made that catch in the red zone, almost to the 5, I think. Um, very skilled catch, but he was being used up until the first half, and I don't think he saw much playing time in the second half. I think it's because they saw the writing on the
That's a problem.
wall. They I think they saw the writing on the wall and was like, okay, I think he needs to be rested a little more. But
Yeah, and
I
again, I
think
don't
they
know
leaned on
everything,
Jamal
but
Williams because they
it
were up.
looks bad.
So I
It
know
looks
it
bad
looks
to
bad.
fans.
It looks
It
bad.
looks bad to management.
Hmm.
It looks bad for them as an organization. And I don't
Um,
understand everything. I'm
talking
not in
about
that situation. I don't know his
yeah,
health. I'm not a doctor. And I'm not the doctor that
yeah.
he's dealing with.
So
But,
to transition to
perception
the next
is
game,
important.
talking about looking bad, the Indianapolis Colts and the New England
Oh
Patriots.
God.
The Colts looked like a dumpster fire today with
Yeah.
Sam Ellinger uh,
Yeah.
under center. Not good.
I mean, at
Not
least he
good.
didn't turn the ball over as much as Matt Ryan, but that's really all you
That's
could say.
yeah. That's about all you can say. I mean,
He also got sacked
when
9 times.
you pass 29 times and you only gain 100 yards,
That's bad.
that's sad. That is very sad. A QB rating. He walked out of there with a QB rating of 13.
Yeah, dude, like poor Michael Pittman.
Oh
Like
yeah.
Michael Pittman is too good for this.
Price check on Michael Pittman.
I mean,
Price check.
what is he actually worth? A first. What is someone going to give you for him with how he's been playing? You'd be lucky to get a second. So I wouldn't sell.
I'd agree with that. I'd agree with that. I
I'd
wouldn't
just
buy
stay the
him
course.
straight up.
Don't start him,
Yeah.
but I mean, don't sell
Yeah.
because
Um,
he's too good and he's too young for this. Indy's gonna clean house.
yes.
They have some cap space. It's not as good because of the Matt Ryan signing for next year,
Hmm.
but they're gonna have some cap space to try and figure things out, as well as a very good draft pick with how they're playing because they're punting this year. That's what they're doing.
They
They're
are.
punting.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And I figured that was gonna happen when they put in Ellinger.
yeah.
Honestly, like they're punting for a QB next year. I think that's
Which is what
going to
they
be
need
their
to do.
first round
Thank
pick.
thank God. Like we've been
Their
waiting,
yeah,
almost
their
half a
first round
decade for
pick.
them to do that.
Their first round pick. Half a decade. Yeah, I guess because it
Yeah,
was
like
what
5 years. We've
in
been
it was
waiting pretty much
18.
5 years for the Colts to do this.
Was it 17 or 18 when Andrew Luck left?
I'm pretty sure it's 17
Was it 17?
because this is
Man,
the fifth year that they haven't had him.
shoot, man.
But I
Yeah,
think that year he
because
was
I know it was
injured.
Jacoby Brissett for a
Yeah, so
while for that
2017
that
was
year.
Brissett.
So, yeah, that's frustrating. So, I think they're
But that
punting. They're
defense is
officially
too
punting
good.
for a
This
QB
that
next year.
defense is so good for just the offense to
Yeah,
sell out every single
yeah.
game.
But I mean, it's
And it
it's
sucks
what has to
because I
happen.
love Frank Reich. Frank Reich is a great coach,
Yeah.
but it's kind of just it's almost like the Dan Quinn thing. Like
Yeah.
everybody loves him. He's a good coach, but it's just time for a change.
Hmm.
Like and again, Frank Reich is not a bad coach. He's not a bad person. He does not manage this team, you know, in a in a way where he should be fired.
Hmm.
He's not like an Urban Meyer or something like that or a Gruden. But
Yeah.
sometimes it just doesn't work out. And for the betterment of both parties, you just have to go in another direction.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Because, like,
Um,
again, Dan Quinn, not a bad guy, not a bad coach. You see what he's doing over in Dallas,
mhm.
but there was no reason for him to be the head coach of the Falcons any longer.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Um, so going over to the other side of the ball, because I don't think we have anything else to say about the Colts other than
Mm-mm.
um, sad face. But Mac Jones looked pretty decent.
Yeah,
Still,
he's got a handle on the starting position.
yeah, he does, he does. But it's good to have a very capable backup. Um, so I'm glad that they were able to get what was his name again?
That's all you need to ask from him.
What was his name again? Their backup,
Zappy.
Zappy. Yeah, yeah. Um, so it's good to have a very capable backup behind you, and know that
Right.
if you had to switch out,
You
he's
can.
there. So, Ramondre, Damian Harris was
He
out.
didn't have a bad day.
No, he had a pretty good day. A lot of passing work, and a lot of rushing work, averaging 4 yards per carry, which is not,
Yeah, he looks good.
pretty good. Um, compared to the second up in carries for the team, JJ Taylor, averaged point
Point
nine,
nine.
point nine. That's so sad. They're definitely
He did
missing
his
Damian
best.
Harris, but
Yeah.
yeah, Jacoby
I mean
Myers,
that's really it,
yeah, that's
They're
it.
just
I mean,
effective.
Ramondre, his
Ramondre was their offense
passing
and
work,
everybody else was effective.
yeah, the passing work though was amazing. Like
Yeah.
how Ramondre was used. I mean, obviously it was like screens and whatnot, but
Yeah.
he the way he caught that touchdown, his body control, oh, so awesome
Hmm.
watching it. Um, so yeah, that's about it for that matchup. On to the upset of the week, the Buffalo Bills being routed by the New York Jets in the last like 2 minutes of the game. That was
Dude,
awesome.
it was a good game. It
It
was
was
a
a
really
good
good
game.
game.
Josh Allen did not look like himself the whole
Yeah, it
game.
just kind of seemed like he wasn't there today. I mean,
Yeah,
18 for 34 and two picks. Like, I guess you just have to mark that down to he was kind
yeah.
of having an off day, and the Jets had a great plan for him. And
They
that's
did.
really got to be quick. He's still the best. He still
Hmm.
put up a lot of fantasy points. He ran all over them and for
Yep.
two touchdowns. Like, you got to give him his flowers. He still played well. It was just
Hmm.
they had a great plan, and he was a little off today.
Yeah. And Stephon Diggs, good. Gabe Davis
Yeah.
didn't really get to see as
It
much.
was just
It
Diggs.
was it was
That's
Stephon
all they
Diggs
could get
and
going.
Devin Singletary. I mean, he got
Yeah.
5 targets, which is great. On top of what only 8 carries for 24 yards. They were playing catch up most of the game, so they pretty much took the offense and went through Josh Allen. And even then,
Yeah.
they didn't do very much other than
Right.
Josh Allen running those 2 touchdowns in. So it was
Right.
really Josh Allen was beaten by the New York Jets. So
Which is still tough to say. But on the
yeah,
other side, down the stretch, Zach Wilson was
hmm
really good.
he was.
Really good down the
He
stretch.
got bottled up in the
Yeah,
first
he
part.
was struggling and he's taking some hits and was
Hmm
having a hard time. And
Yeah,
Michael Carter kind of kept the energy for the first half when he scored
yeah,
and then was still good down the stretch. But
yeah.
um, Garrett Wilson's he's probably gonna be rookie of the year at this point, and they need him to be for this team to work. So, everything's just
I
kind of
don't know if
lining
he's
up.
gonna be rookie of the year. I don't know if he's gonna be rookie of the
Who's
year.
playing better than Garrett Wilson right now?
Kung Fu Kenny, that man is balling out right
Oh
now.
yeah, actually that might be kind of close.
Like
Well, you know what? That's a
he's
great
doing great.
transition. Let's talk about the
Yeah,
Seahawks.
yeah, okay. Yeah, let's. Well, I wanted to say one more thing. Michael
Okay.
Carter and James Robinson. Michael Carter is definitely the RB1 for the Jets. There's no question about that. He looks so much better than James Robinson. Um, if you have him, he's worth a flex consideration. I think with him and James Robinson splitting carries, um, it's going to be hard to trust him in an RB2 role. So he's a flex consideration in pretty much every league. In deeper leagues,
Yeah.
yeah. So let's go ahead
Yeah,
and
and then
transition
pivoting over to the Seahawks. I mean,
to the
Gino did what
Hawks.
he's been doing.
Yep.
Like he's incredibly effective, accurate, just
Mm-hmm.
passing all over the place, followed up by Kung Fu Kenny, as you mentioned, just
Yeah.
26 for 109 and two tutties.
2 tutties. He screwed me in our league. I'm
Oh,
hoping
you
that
playing him?
yeah, I'm playing him. Wash has him. I'm hoping that
Oh, in the ESPN league.
yeah, yeah, I'm hoping that Derrick Henry, that the king shows up and balls out. That's about the only way
Yeah.
that I'll be able to win. So
Yeah,
him
dude,
and
I'm in
Isaiah
a
likely.
freaking I'm in a tight one with against Josh right now. Like, good God. It couldn't be more tight than
Yeah.
what me and Josh are in right now. Like I'm praying that Kelsey continues to kind of stay where he's at and that Lamar doesn't screw me over
Yeah, they're playing
and
tomorrow
Olave
night,
doesn't
right?
screw me over. Yeah, tomorrow's
Yeah.
Ravens and Saints.
Oof. Mm,
So I got to get through
it's gonna
Lamar and
be
Olave, and if so, it's gonna be
if
tight.
you'll win. So
It's gonna be tight.
James Conner, um, he was here today.
Oh, really quickly, but before we
Surprise.
hop over the Cardinals, dude, why
Okay,
the
go ahead.
heck is Noah Fant coming out of the woodwork now and deciding that he wants to be a good tight end? What the
I
heck?
have no clue. I have no
I feel
clue.
so incredibly disrespected by that as someone who had him and believed in him for so long, and then now he finally decides he wants to do something.
Yeah. Yeah,
And I've
well,
been on it like a tight end carousel for a while now.
yeah, I finally landed on Ertz. Thank the Lord. But
Yeah, which
he
Ertz is going to be good for
Noah
a while.
Noah Fant is one
Well,
of those
I
tight
still don't
ends.
think he's going to be good, but like I'm just
No,
frustrated
he's
that
one of those
now it's
tight
just
ends
coming
that's a
out of
flash in
nowhere.
a pan and then he
Yeah,
disappears for like 3 or 4 weeks and then he
yeah,
shows up again. Oh yeah, look at me. I've got a lot of skill. And then boom, he's back down in the
yeah.
dirt. So um
I mean,
DK
yeah.
Metcalf, 5 receptions, 37 yards, and a touchdown. The touchdown was the one redeeming factor for for him.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been
Uh
8 points without it.
yeah, unfortunately that's about all
I
he had
just,
going for him.
I don't know what they need to do, but they just need to manufacture more for him. Like his touch chart should
Yeah.
be a minimum of 8 targets
Yep.
every game.
For
Period.
sure. But
Like, I
it's hard
mean,
to scheme
yeah.
if if the game script swings the opposite way. So, you know,
But that's the thing. Like, their game scripting the Seahawks right now. Most
Mhm.
defenses, I'd say, like DK is the thing that's killing everyone,
Yeah.
and then they let Ken run over everyone, and then when it's not, you know, uh, Ken Walker, it's hitting Lockett,
Yeah.
in these like little play action over the middle or deep down the sideline routes. And like that's what's killing people. Like, yeah, DK is good, but I mean, no one is giving Kenneth Walker respect. And I
Hmm.
think that's the most frustrating part of it because he's the reason why they're 6-3. I'm going to be real honest with you right now. They're not 6-3 without Ken Walker. Period. Exclamation point. There's no debating. There's no like anything about that is a fact that Kenneth Walker is carrying this Seahawks team.
Oh, for sure. For sure. That's definitely happening. He has placed him and Gino have
Yeah. And
both
if you've
placed
managed to hold
their
on to him,
team on
oh
them. Yeah. If you had
my God,
Kenneth Walker, if you had
you fantasy god.
yeah, if you drafted Kenneth Walker and say you drafted Kenneth Walker and shoot, I mean Travis Etienne last year. Oh man, you are in a
You're
fantastic
just
situation.
yeah, you're just
Absolute fantastic situation.
walking around BDE everywhere on the league. Good,
I
like hats
fully
off to you.
expect. And say you got, Damian Pierce in like the
Yeah,
third or
and that's your
fourth round.
flex. It's like, well, F you,
Dude,
buddy.
yeah.
F
Yeah, you
you
just hit the absolute jackpot. So,
for a
anybody
while.
who has any one of those three is has just they you scored. Absolutely. So,
Yeah. Kyler
I'm
Murray
hoping to
still
run
looks
into that
bad.
next year.
Kyler Murray
So,
still doesn't look good. I
other
don't
than on
like
the
him.
ground,
Yeah, but
that's his
even
one
then, like he's
redeeming
he's not
factor.
helping them win. Like
Yeah.
fantasy wise, yes. But in terms of
Yeah.
like the NFL, he's not helping them win. I guess
But
game
again,
plan was
uh,
Rondell Moore.
yeah.
I
But
don't think
again,
so.
some of that falls on the scheme. So,
Yeah.
but he
But that
doesn't
was the
really
game.
help with it. So that was the game. Let's go ahead and move on to a team that did not score any points last week, the Las Vegas Raiders. They
Dude, what
actually
what
showed
a
up.
fun game this was. I
Yeah.
started tuning into this one
Hmm.
after ETN scored. Like I watched
Yep.
that drive, ETN scored. I'm like, no way they bring this back, right? Like they're down 20-7.
Yeah. And they
But
did,
do you want to talk about
and
Jags first, or who do you want to talk
let's
about
let's
first?
go with Las Vegas.
Okay.
So Derek Carr, 259 yards, two touchdowns. It, he
60% of that to one
had an
person.
admirable, yeah, he had an admirable first half, but the second half was just absolute,
Collapse of
yeah,
epic
dog
proportion.
crap. Josh Jacobs didn't do. I mean, he got
Yeah.
67 yards, and he caught
Three
three
receptions.
passes, and that's it. But
But they
he
they
he
need to
didn't he
keep
didn't do
Jacobs
anything what
involved.
he was
Like
expected to do.
that's where
Yeah.
Gruden had it figured out when he was
Hmm.
the coach and they were doing well, is when they were
Yep.
able to get Josh Jacobs a football.
Hmm.
Like that's their
And
balance. It has to be Adams and Jacobs. And if they do that, they will win more
exactly,
football games.
exactly. Um, uh, Shout out to anybody who put Devonte Adams in,
Yeah, who
because
rolled the dice and big
you got
hosted.
it, you got it. I, on the other hand, put in Mac Hollins, and I got a very solid 3.7 points. It was great. It was awesome. Um, yeah. Other than that, there's not really much to talk about. Foster Moreau had 6 points
The
at
Raiders,
tight
there's
end.
nothing else
That's
to
it.
talk
Other than
about.
Devonte Adams and maybe Josh
No,
Jacobs.
let's talk about the
Um,
Jags. Let's talk about the
yeah,
Jags.
that's it.
Quick
Travis.
shout out while we're giving them out to
All
the
right.
Church of ETN.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Cardinal
the Church of
speaking.
ETN. Go ahead.
Um, Listen, I just want to prophesy more 25 plus point games
Yes.
for our main man that we are here to stand in fan club,
Preach it.
the Travis
Preach it.
Etienne. I'm preaching it. I am preaching. I've been preaching it all off season. I've been preaching it all season. I'm gonna keep preaching it because
Prophesy.
he's a league winner.
Yeah,
Bless him.
he is.
I
He
mean,
is.
that's more Jarvis Landry. But,
I
same
think
thing.
uh I think
He
he's
can
going to do
still.
really well in the postseason
Yeah.
for
Oh yeah.
any fantasy owners. I think he's a league winner when it comes to that. And him and Kung Fu Kenny
Yeah.
are both
Oh, dude, if you have Kenneth
postseason
Walker,
league winners. Um,
gosh,
and we're going to be
what I
going
would
through that.
give, what I would give to have that foresight and go back
Yeah.
to like week 1 or 2
Hmm.
and just go balls to the wall for Kenneth Walker.
Yeah. Oh,
Like if I knew what I knew now, I would have offered JT like week 1 or
yeah.
probably week 2 for
Yeah.
Kenneth Walker.
Oh, I would have given so much for Kenneth Walker. I mean, he looks like a generational talent. Like he looks
Yeah.
like a
In a
beast out there.
system where they're going to use him.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
Exactly.
he's doing basically what Marshawn Lynch was doing in his
Hmm.
own style. Like,
Yeah.
he's not the beast quake.
We're
He's not
not
that,
yeah, I was like we're not
you
comparing
know,
him to him.
yeah. No, no,
Just
I'm not saying
for
Kenneth Walker's
those
Marshawn Lynch,
yeah,
but I'm
for those
saying
guys
he's
out
having
there.
the same effect of like the
Hmm.
electricity and making plays and
Exactly.
being the star at running back that
Yeah.
they need.
Well,
But he's doing it
he
in
was
his
being
very shifty kind of
mhm,
electrical way compared to Marshawn Lynch's just raw
yeah.
power
Well, I think
and dominance.
the three rookie running backs, and I say rookie because I'm including ETN in here
Yeah, he
because
didn't
really
play at
this
all
is his
last year.
rookie
So this is
year.
his rookie year. Yeah.
Um, but ETN, Brees Hall, and Kenneth Walker, all three of
Oh my
them
gosh.
are
And
they
people
just
told
bring
us,
an electricity
yeah,
to their offenses. They
Ryan,
do.
people told us we were crazy to say Kenneth Walker's a third round or is a third overall pick in the
I mean,
draft.
he was a beast in college, and
And it was a great
yeah,
spot in Seattle because they were going to use him. And we
exactly.
knew Rashad Penny was
We
a glass
knew
canyon.
Penny wasn't gonna last
Like that
because
was literally our argument.
every
Like,
single
you're right.
year
I would push
Rashad
him
Penny is
back
the same way.
because how good Penny looked last year, but he's
Yeah.
going to get injured at some
And
point and he's going to get the opportunity.
I tried so stinking hard this off season
Mhm.
and during the first couple of weeks of the regular season to get um
Kenneth
Kenny.
Walker.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to get Kenny from Philip,
Philip. Yeah.
one of our league mates. For those of you that are listening, it's one of our league mates who drafted him. Auto, I have to
Auto
say,
draft.
auto
Yeah, I
drafted
hate
him in
that.
the first round. And so we were all frustrated over that because we figured he would fall to like late first round,
Well,
maybe
he wasn't
early.
going to last past Alex. Like Alex was going to
Yeah,
take him,
yeah.
period.
But oh man, I wish he would
Oh,
have
yeah, I'm going to
he would have
lay awake
fallen.
at night thinking about it.
I am frustrated that I in my trade talks with uh with Alex didn't try to get the two firsts instead of the two thirds that he gave me and a first. I was gonna try to and
Yeah,
no, he
but
gave me a first, a
you'd have been
second, and two
asking too much.
thirds.
Yeah. You'd have
I
been
was
asking for too much
I
though.
know. I wanted to throw in something else for that second first because I was gonna go after like Damian Pierce. But if Kenneth Walker was there in that at that spot, I probably would have taken him.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
man,
really
I wish
quickly,
I
I
would
want to
have
say
done that.
something
And
to Colts
hindsight's
fans
always
too.
2020. But
I want to say something to Colts fans because I didn't while we
yeah,
were talking about their
no, go
game.
ahead.
But don't sell JT. Like
Yeah,
JT is
don't sell him.
still, I see him as like it's a Saquon Barkley type
Hmm.
situation where like he's dealing with some injuries from
Yeah,
overuse. Like the coaching system is just not there. The team isn't built up, but change is coming and
yeah.
do not sell him. Like I bought
I
him
think.
for a pretty good rate. Like I mean
Mhm.
I still paid, but I feel
Yeah.
like I purchased him for a pretty, fair price for the production he's putting up this year.
Hmm.
Some a lot of people paid more than I did,
I think once they get a
but he's gonna
QB,
come back.
once they get a QB and get the
Hmm.
passing game rolling, people are going to stop
Hmm.
keying off of him. But by people, I mean teams, defenses are going to stop keying off of him, and it's going to open up the run game for him. And
Yeah.
we've seen it last year. He is dominant in the run game when he
Yeah.
gets the chance.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to happen. It's just
When?
it's just a win. So they just need to
Yeah.
get a
I just
QB in
wanted
there.
to take that really quick. And then last note for this Vegas Jacksonville game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Christian Kirk, he's still that
Yeah.
guy there. He's going to continue to be that guy there for a long time.
He dropped off for a little while, but also,
Well, he dropped off like a week for like
mhm.
1 week, and that happens.
Zay Jones. We've been preaching it for the last like 4 weeks, 5 weeks. Pick up Zay Jones,
And
please.
he's still looking good. Yeah.
Yeah, he's still looking good. He's not producing fantastic numbers, not wide receiver two
But
numbers,
Lawrence is going to get
low
better.
end, low end
Lawrence is going to
flex.
get so much
But
better.
he is, yeah, exactly. I am so proud of what Trevor Lawrence has been doing there.
Because this is
He's
really his rookie year.
Yeah,
Like, if we're being honest, like
he
Urban
was
Meyer,
thrown. Oh yeah,
yeah,
he was
that
thrown
was not
into
a
the
rookie.
Urban Meyer blender last year, and
We can do
he
whatever we want. We'll win
exactly.
games. It's like,
So
that's not how the
I'm
NFL works.
I'm glad he's coming out the other side looking like a really good fantasy option.
Yeah.
Um, he just needs to develop, and they are.
Yeah.
I think
Dude,
it's
I
Doug
wish.
Peterson who took over this
Yeah.
team, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Doug
he is
Peterson.
building a team around him, and I
Which is what you
love
need
that.
to do.
I love that because you see the progression from last year to
When
this
it
year.
started,
There is a very significant jump in
honestly,
his production
you
and
need
his
to give the
confidence.
flowers. You need to give
Yeah,
the flowers to the draft staff
yeah,
there in Jacksonville
mhm,
because they were building where the coaching staff was failing this team. They were
yeah,
putting all the pieces there, and they just needed someone to come into the organization
hmm,
and do something with it. Because I mean,
yep,
they have been knockouts. I mean, like even going back to like Jalen Ramsey, like knockout.
yeah,
Leonard Fournette, knockout. Now Josh Allen, knockout. Basically their entire defense,
yeah,
knockout. Now they just need somebody to do something, and that's what Urban's doing.
yep. And yeah, I'm glad that they're finally
Or not
building that
Urban,
team.
what
Not Urban,
Doug Peterson's
Peterson.
doing.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I'm glad
brain
Doug
fart.
Peterson is actually taking what he has there and building a team around it because he really is. Trevor Lawrence and ETN are going to be the foundation of that offense.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
um,
And on to our
yeah,
last one. We made it. We made it
yes.
to the
On to
end.
our
And
last
it's a
one.
perfect one to end on because it was a stunner.
I didn't watch this.
Dude, it was
I was up till 3 a.m. last
I
night,
mean the
and I
Rams,
decided
man.
to take a nap this
You know what?
evening.
I did too. I did too, but I
I was
was able to
exhausted.
keep a little bit up on this one. And I mean the Rams were just in control.
Yeah,
Like,
it looked like it.
Henderson was doing all right. Like he was very effective and I think they need to include Henderson a little bit more in their game plan with how he's been playing. Um, but I mean it was just the Cup show. Like Cup was going off
Hmm.
to no one's surprise. Stafford was playing well. They were controlling this game. It was very defensive heavy. And then Tom Brady with I think it was like 60 seconds left led them down and just threw the perfect touchdown pass to Otan.
Cade Oton, man.
Yeah, dude. He's
I
starting
think
to look like
he's gonna take
yeah,
over. He's gonna take over as his number one option. Do
yeah.
you think okay. Now I'm not making any comparisons. Do not put that on me. But I'm just posing this question.
hmm
Do you think he could be his next Gronk? Like he'll the way he trusts
Yeah,
Gronk.
I mean, yeah, I think in terms of like chemistry and
Hmm.
like trust, he can be Gronk, but obviously he has a different play style. Like I
Yeah,
see him more as like a
yeah,
possession.
yeah. But he has looked really good.
Sorry,
Um,
sorry
no,
about
you're
that.
good. He has
I see
looked
him more as
really
like a
good over the
possession
last
receiver
Yeah,
thing.
he has looked really good over the last couple of weeks. He's been heavily utilized by Brady.
Yeah,
So if Brady stays, which because I don't know if he's going to stay another year or not with how everything's going in his personal life, which we're not going to go into. If everything's going on in his personal life this off season, who knows what's going to happen
I
next.
mean, at this point, he might as well stay.
Um,
Like,
yeah,
as long as he feels like he
but
can play, because I mean, what else? There's nothing else for him other than football, and that's
that's
kind of the
sad.
decision he made.
It's sad, but he dug his own grave. That's all I
Yeah,
have to
and
say
I mean,
on
I'm
that.
not going to say right or wrong or
Um,
go into his life
yeah,
like he made a decision,
but
and
he did make a
I think
decision.
he can. I think he can keep playing. I think there's just
Yeah.
some tough injuries that this team has taken,
Mm-hmm.
but I think Tom Brady, as long as he can, he should,
Yeah.
is
Um,
what I believe.
yeah.
Yeah, and I'm
That's
not a Tampa Bay fan.
yeah.
I don't like Tom Brady. I grew up in Denver,
Mm-hmm.
and if you know anything about growing up in Denver, Colorado, you hate one thing, and that's the Patriots.
On the Raiders.
Like yeah, well, the Patriots and the Raiders, but more so the Patriots because the Raiders were trash, and so
Yeah.
that was just more of like a moral or
So
righteous, if you will, butt
yeah.
kicking. But you hated the Patriots if you were a Broncos fan.
So I do want to say one more thing about Tampa Bay before we go over to the Rams.
Mhm.
What's going on with Rashad White and Fournette?
I don't know.
It
Like
looks
I
like
think they're just trying to figure it out,
I think they're
experiment.
starting to more like they're starting to trust Rashad White a little more
Yeah, I
with
mean
some
they're
work.
definitely getting him work. They trust Fournette as they should more in the pass game, and I don't know. I think they're just experimenting as they should.
Yeah.
You need to know what you have. I think the Falcons could take a page from
Hmm.
this and putting Desmond Ritter in.
Yeah.
Because like down the stretch of this Chargers game, Marcus Mariota was terrible. And
Hmm.
I'm all for seeing what you have in a player. So I think it's
Yeah.
smart. I think Fournette is still better, and you've kind of seen that,
Yeah.
but they should keep experimenting and see how they can best use him and what the future will look like with him. Because if
Hmm.
something were to happen to Fournette,
They want to make sure that
what are
they
you
have a
going to
good
do?
backup. Yeah.
Yeah, but if
Yep.
you don't know what this player is good at and what he's comfortable with running and getting him those in-game reps and like used to game speed,
Yeah.
when that situation arises, they might not be ready. So
Exactly.
I think that's smart.
Exactly. So it's good that they're getting him involved.
Yeah. And then
Um,
other than that, nothing else was surprising. I mean,
yeah.
Evans, 11 targets, 5 receptions, just couldn't connect. Godwin,
Hmm.
10 targets, 7 receptions. They just got to get it figured out in terms of like moving the football and just keep clicking. I think Kate Oton coming along is going to help Brady get in the flow a little bit more because he loves tight ends. So having the ability to have a tight end check down or like a tight end specific play, I think will just further help Tom Brady.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and with that,
So yeah, just moving over to the
yeah. Oh
Rams.
yeah, 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 the Rams. I kind
The
of
Rams.
brushed
Yeah.
over, but go ahead.
Uh,
Or the Los
not a
Angeles
whole
Cups.
lot. There's not a whole lot other than Cooper Cup. Cooper
Yeah, the
Cup,
Los
eight
Angeles Cups.
receptions, 127 yards and a touchdown. That's it. Like
And that's
there's
all,
not much to
folks.
talk about it. Yeah, they lost.
Bring on
So
Porky Pig really quick
yeah.
for our end here. Zabba
So
zabba that and that's all, folks.
and that's all, folks.
That
Um, so
that's all, folks.
y'all, thank you for sitting with us through
Yeah,
this week 9 review.
it was a
We're gonna
weird
be
one.
coming
I feel
back
like.
at you on Thursday with our dream lineups.
Mhm.
But before you leave, please make sure to like and subscribe to this YouTube channel, or like the video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and follow us on all of our social media pages, uh, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all at Last Place FP. Thank you for coming, guys. We'll see you guys on Thursday.
Well, and the most important thing to
Oh yeah,
remember,
go ahead.
just always remember that sometimes you are right and sometimes you're Ryan.
Yep, that is our
Or in
motto.
this case, Josh Richter, as the
Yeah,
name
in this
says.
case,
It's
sometimes
not
you're right or sometimes you're Josh. So, yeah.
or Ryan impersonating Josh Richter, which is still Ryan.